Well, welcome. It's great to be here with you all. Every week we sing songs together as part of our normal practice here at Les Moody Baptist Church. We get a bit of an update around what's happening, and then we have a time where we just focus in on some truths that come to us from the Bible, that come to us from Christian experience, that help us, as for those of us that follow Jesus, it helps us walk confidently into our weeks, just walking a little closer with Him. And for those of you who maybe are thinking about faith or who are wondering where you are in your faith journey, hopefully it encourages you to see that Jesus really is the best thing worth following. And what we're going to do for the next 3 weeks is we're actually going to do a generosity campaign called Be Rich. Now, we've done this for the last 2 years, and we looked at the same Bible passage. We're going to look at it again today, 1 Timothy chapter 6. But what I want to focus on for this year, especially as we enter our 3rd year of doing Be Rich, is really asking ourselves at a heart level, for those of us that say, yep, I've bought into Jesus and I've bought into being a part of this church, asking ourselves at a heart level, are we living generously with what we have been given? Are we living generously with what we have been given, with the resources we have, with the time we've been allotted? Are we living in such a way that others are blessed? So, today we're going to talk about being rich. Now, if you are new here, or if you've had a rough church experience, you may be thinking to yourself, oh no, money and church, what could go wrong, right? Some of you might be thinking, you've heard the talks before, give and life will go well, give and the church can keep running, give, otherwise the building's going to collapse and it's just like, whoa, give. And you may have been in a church before where the message that came through was very much and very strong. Giving is just what you have to do, and everyone should be generous with their money towards the church. Give. I want you to rest easy up front. I want you to take a big breath and go, this is not that message. All right? And as long as I'm here, hopefully that will never be the message, because fearful giving doesn't end up leading us to the path that God wants for His people. He wants people to live generous lives because they want to be generous, not because they feel obligated or out of fear being generous. As a church, we don't see money as something to be squeezed out of you. We don't see money as something which God wants all of us to give to Him. Money, from how we view it through the Bible and through our church practice, our finances and money is something that we see as God having entrusted us with something to manage while we live out our life here on earth. In fact, generosity is the lens by which we express our faith financially, not just giving to the church, but being generous in all aspects of our lives and to all organizations and great spaces that we can be generous. Generosity isn't pressure, it's an invitation. It's an invitation to give to what we're thankful for, and to give to what breaks our heart. And this isn't the message for today, but it's definitely a great message. There is something inside each of us that our heart breaks for, that we long to see different in our world. And sometimes how we use our finances can unlock change, real change in our world through different organizations that do all sorts of amazing things: education, food relief, working in healthcare here in WA and around the world. But what we're focusing on for these 3 weeks around Be Rich is about being generous through 3 ways: through give, serve, love. So we want to be generous with our giving. We want to be able to partner with some not-for-profits. I'll tell you about them in just a second, that are doing great work within our community. And we want to be able to financially support them and say, we love what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing. We want to serve. We want to be generous with our time within our community. I'm not talking serving here at church. Thank you to everyone who does that, and I think it's a great thing that you should do. But I'm saying serving wider than just here at church on a Sunday. Serving in the city of Kalamunda. Serving around the place to be able to show that we can be generous with our time. And then finally, love. How can we show our neighbours, our physical neighbours? For some of you, you already do this. Your neighbours, you're like, I know their name, I know their birthdays. We were around last week having a barbecue. Amazing. For some of you, you're like, they moved in and I was going to go say hello. And then I thought, I don't want to be weird and first day, hi. So you thought you give them some space, and then you reflect and you go, yeah, that's 5 years ago. And I never got around to going over and saying, hi, my name is, and how are you going? So maybe over our season of Be Rich, there's an opportunity to reach out to your neighbour and show some generosity to them. The 3 ways we recommend you can do that is go take them some food. Don't have too big of a smile on your face. Here's some muffins. If you're too big a smile, blow the whole deal up. You can be generous with your time. You can just go and hang out with them and say, hey, can I have a cup of tea or a coffee, or can we have a chat? Or perhaps you want to take them a gift. Maybe you can make them a card, or maybe you're a really artsy person, you want to take them something over. And you can say, hey, I just wanted to say hello, and here's a way of just saying and being generous with our time, with our love, and with our money. So those are the ways in which we can be rich towards our community. We can fund things that are doing great work. We can give our time to organizations within our community that are doing a great work. And we can reach out to our neighbors and establish genuine relationships with them to show them that we care, that they are there next to us. So to kick us off today, as we talk about giving, we're going to have a look at a Bible passage in 1 Timothy chapter 6. And this is the foundation for this whole idea of being rich, about becoming the kind of church, the kind of people that our community will miss if we're not here, because we're just so generous with what we have been given. So let's unpack all of this thinking. It comes from a guy named Paul who lived 2,000 years ago. We say this a lot here. He was someone who was against the church and against Jesus. And then one day he met Jesus and he went, hey, this guy's pretty good. And then he changed his whole life into a different direction. He went from trying to get rid of the church and Jesus' followers to just saying the church is the best. You should be a part of this movement. Jesus is real. It's amazing. Now, Paul had someone named Timothy that he was training up and equipping. And so he wrote this letter called 1 Timothy. And it's a personal letter from Paul to young Tim. We always call him Timothy. It feels more reverent, but I wonder if he went by Tim. I'm not sure how it worked back then. If he was Australian, it'd be Timmy, right? Yeah. The letter of 1 Timmy. Anyway. So he's writing to Timothy, trying to encourage him. And the setting is that they're in a city called Ephesus, which is a major city in the Roman Empire. In fact, it was probably one of the largest and the wealthiest in that region. So there was lots going on there. It was home to a famous temple. It was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It was a hub for trade and culture and religion. And basically, it was just a big place, lots of stuff happening. And Paul is trying to instruct him, how do you lead and how do you show people the way of Jesus in this context? So when we get to chapter 6, Paul's words about money and generosity are just so strong because he's speaking into a city where there is so many riches and also there's so much poverty as well. And Paul's reminding Timothy, and by extension the church, us today and also the church through history, that true life is not found in wealth. I mean, Timothy is there, and he's in this city of extreme wealth, and Paul's trying to remind him, this is not what you put your hope in. Followers of Jesus use their resources well, not to trap themselves in wanting to get more, but by living generously so that all can experience the goodness of God. So that's the backdrop to what we're looking at. And here's the words that we read. So if you have your Bible, you can go there. Otherwise, it's up on the screen. So this is 1 Timothy 6 to 11 and 17 to 19. Paul writes, "But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it." That's not news to anyone, right? You come in with nothing. You come in as a beautiful little screaming naked baby, and then you go out the other end either in a hole in the ground or as ashes. You enter with nothing, you leave with nothing. That's just the way of life. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. So Paul is pointing out, hey, you come in with nothing, you leave with nothing. So if you can get to the point where your basic needs are met, that is contentment. So he's creating a bit of a contrast here. People who understand that there is contentment in what we have, but because the human heart wants what it wants, we all want a little bit more. We all want to be content with clothes and food, but having nice housing and access to the sports and hobbies we want, and also being able to go online and shop. Like we sort of expand the circle a little bit. Paul's trying to say, as long as you have what you need, you'll be content. But all of us know that what we need gets meshed in very quickly with what we want, and all of a sudden we try to go for bigger and bigger. So Paul addresses that. To those who want to get rich, who want to expand, who want more, they fall into temptation and a trap into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from their faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Now, some of you may not know that that's where that saying, the saying, love of money, the love of money is evil and all that sort of stuff. This is where it comes from. The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. So it's not the love of the money itself, but it's actually the fact that what that leads to causes a lot of pain and can cause a lot of grief. So Paul's trying to say, hey, Timothy, as you're talking to these people in this very rich city, people with a lot of wealth and a lot of influence, you need to remind them, godliness and contentment can be found in having what we need. But once you start to chase after what you want, once you start to go after riches, once you want more, you're leading yourself down all sorts of painful and destructive behaviors. And it's not uncommon, is it, for ourselves, if we reflect on our own lives, but to think about the friends and families you have around you. People, when they had what they needed, there was almost like a level of safety and security. And then as time went on and as their wealth got bigger, they moved up the corporate ladder. They had kids, and suddenly the kids left, they're double income, and they get more and more money. And all of a sudden, they start to have some habits and some things in our lives. Let's just put it on us for a second. We start to do some things that when we didn't have the money and the access to, wasn't a problem. But now we've got a little bit more time, a little bit more money, we're a little bit wiser, and all of a sudden we can't live without the hobby, the extra, the whatever it is, the online shopping, the gambling, this going on and on, just these other things. We can't live without that stuff. And all of a sudden we're far away from contentment, and we're in a space where if I don't earn what I earn now, everything falls over. And that's a scary place for some people to be. So Paul's saying, contentment. But if you chase after money, you will lose that contentment. He goes on to say in verses 17 to 19. So, Timothy, for those who are rich and in your congregation, who are in the church, who are part of the community, command them who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant or put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but put their hope in God who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. What I love about what he says here, which is pretty cool, is he says, command those who are rich in this present world. How long is the present world? 90 years if you're lucky. Maybe 100. Maybe less. He's saying, hey, there are people who are rich in this present world. And for many of those people, and for us, we lose sight of the bigger picture of an eternal perspective because we get so focused on this present world that for those of us who are rich, which for many of us in the room, compared to our worldwide brothers and sisters, we are rich. But we are only rich in this present world. And he says, for those who do have wealth here and now, instruct them, tell them, warn them. Don't be arrogant. Don't put your hope in the fact that you have finances. One of the practical ways this works out is don't put your hope in the fact that, yes, it's insured. Don't put your hope in the fact that, yes, you've got fallback savings. If your hope factor comes down to the fact that you're able to look at your property portfolio, your wealth portfolio, your insurance set up and everything, and you're able to go, nothing can go wrong. I'm totally protected because I've got this, and this in life. Paul's saying, don't put your hope in that stuff because one, it's only for this time here and now, and then we die and we don't take any of it with us. But also, once we start to put our hope in the fact that I've got a good job, or we start to put our hope in the fact that I've got good savings, or we start to put our hope in the fact that I've got good insurance coverage, once we start to put our hope in those things, we start to take our trust and our eyes away from God. And all of a sudden, we don't need God as much to provide us what we need because I've got all these safety nets in place. I've got all these strategies and savings. I've got everything here. And God's saying once we take our eyes off of Him and we put it on all these safety nets which we create, which are only for a limited time, we start to lose connection with our Heavenly Father. So don't be arrogant and put our hope in what is here on earth, which is not certain. And we know that because when the stock market goes down, what happens to a lot of people's hope? They find Jesus again pretty quick, don't they? All of a sudden there's a dip and there's a bunch of people going, man, we need the Lord. But when the stock market was good and when things were going well and the job was paying well, it's all me. When that stuff goes down, oh no, my retirement is taking a hit. Suddenly we need Jesus at that point. But when things are going well, we don't. So Paul's saying, don't fall into that trap. Don't put your hope in what is temporary, what is for now, what is so uncertain, because there is no guarantee that it will actually bring you peace and true life. He goes on. He says, so command them. So to make sure we don't do that and put our hope in our wealth, he says, this is the antidote. This is the way that we make sure that doesn't happen. He says, command them to do good, to be rich. To be rich in good deeds, to be generous and willing to share, and in this way they will lay up treasure for themselves on a firm foundation for the coming age, so that they can take a hold of life that is truly life. So what is the antidote to make sure that those of us who say, yes, we're Jesus followers, we want to keep ourselves focused on him when it comes to the area of finances? It's generosity. It's generosity. It's doing good in our community. It's being rich in good deeds, being willing to share. How do you know that there is an issue with your money and your heart? The moment you say to yourself, I cannot give it up, it's got a hold of you. If you've got young kids, I give a lot of young kid examples. Sorry, I've got 4 young kids. They're age 9, 7, 5, and 3. So I see this. It's like human nature in a tiny person. The kids, they get a toy, they love the toy, and all of a sudden, they can't share the toy. And if they were to be, hey, why don't we take a turn, young child? Suddenly, no. And it's World War III. And I try to remind them, but remember, the toy you have right now, you had a toy like that last week. Where is that toy? You lost that toy? You don't know where that toy is? Funny. So maybe this new toy, which you're really hyper fixated on, maybe it's not as important as you think it is, to which they say, ah, and run away. And we laugh at that and we go, kids. But then we think about it and we're like, yeah, I have some credit card purchases and I don't even know where that thing is anymore. I'm paying it off. It was a deal. 36-month interest free. But I don't use it like for 36 months. It was more of a 2-month passion, and then all of a sudden I'm still paying for it. And these things that we fixate of this world, I've got this money, I've got this object, I've got this thing, I've got this set up, and we think to ourselves, yes, yes, yes. And then all of a sudden we lose track of the fact that it's for a moment. It's not forever. So Paul's instructing Timothy to avoid getting into that trap where everything you have is only for you and it's got such a hold of your heart that you do not have peace unless everything is working financially. Instruct people, don't fall into that place. Instead, be people who live generously, because that is the antidote to getting into that place of a hard heart and needing financial stability and support. So command them to be rich in good deeds, to do good, be generous and willing to share. In this way, they're going to lay up treasures for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age. You are going to do things in this world that are going to, if you are generous, if you are rich with your money, if you're rich towards other people with your time, your effort, your energy, you're going to lay up treasures in the life to come. How? Because how you give, how you serve, and how you love is going to have a cascading effect on the people around you and then through the generations. There are things that happen in our current world because of the generosity of people 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 generations ago. Because a parent decided to parent well 5 generations ago, there is kids being parented well now. Because someone chose to give exorbitantly 5 generations ago, there is still generosity happening in families and in communities now. Because of what people have done in the past and the way that they lived, it had a flow-on effect. Because people saw generosity in action, they saw it go, and it's now impacting our world now, where we have people in our community and in our families who are living well. Not rich as the world sees rich, but rich in relationship and generosity. And Paul is saying to Timothy, if you can get them into this mindset, they are going to bless generations to come. They're going to give to generations to come. So there's a bit of an invitation here. Do you want to join this type of generosity? Do you want to be someone who takes their eyes off needing to have the best job, have the biggest bank account, have the best property portfolio, have the best insurance setup, all that stuff? Are you willing to put that aside and say, the reason I have what I have here and now is because I am a manager And I'm going to choose to be generous, to be good, to be rich in good deeds and willing to share what I have. And for the people back in Ephesus, that would have been a big message to hear. They would have been going, yeah, we love this Jesus idea, but it's really cool being rich. And it's nice having people wait on us. And it's nice having property. And it's nice being able to go down south and have a property down there and be able to enjoy a weekend away when we want to. And the people at Ephesus would have been going, it's nice. And we sit here and go, that does sound nice. That sounds lovely. I would love to be able to go, I'm just going to go on that golf course holiday thing again for the 50th time this month or whatever. It sounds lovely. It sounds good. But what Paul was saying to Timothy was like, don't let them get trapped and bring Jesus and wealth and go, yay, I have Jesus and I'm okay and I'm just going to make money now. He's saying, no. Jesus changes how you view your wealth. And he's trying to instruct them that this is the way that you view wealth. You are a manager of it. You have it temporarily and it is not purely for your consumption. Will you enjoy the things you get to do with your wealth? Of course you will. But nothing will bring you more joy than living this way and being able to give so that the next generation can live better. So, that's the backdrop to be rich. We want to be rich in good deeds and be generous and willing to share. And we're going to do that through give, serve, love. So let me just quickly talk practically how that's going to work, and then we're going to be done in here. Give is all about supporting our local not-for-profit champions. So this year, our not-for-profit champions are ARC Australia and Les Murray Primary School P&C. So Nathan, would you mind standing up? You're going to be up here next week anyway, so you may as well stand up. Can everyone turn their eyes and attention that way? Nathan, hey Nathan, everyone say hello. Nathan, woo. Nathan's going to be up here on the stage with me next week, as well as with a representative from the Les Murray Primary School P&C. And we're going to be chatting around who they are, what they get up to. But ARC Australia, let me just quickly give some background here. So ARC Australia are all about supporting foster families in our community. And they have a setup over the other side of the hill there, over at Mundaring. There's a bit of competition between the hills. I don't know why that is. Everyone on the flats just ignores us. But up here, it's like those hills and Armidale's like, we're here too. And Mundaring and Kalamunda are like, yeah, you are. And then we just fight. Anyway, so over that side of the hill, there's some great support, and ARC Australia do great to get churches engaged with supporting foster families. And we would love to see something set up over this side of the hill where we can have a localised expression of that happen here. So let me tell you how this came about, because it is quite interesting. So a couple of months ago, we were at an event called Hills United, where Mundaring Church of Christ, Kalamunda Church of Christ, who have a sweet new building set up, which is pretty cool, Parkville Baptist, the four churches got together and said, let's just get together, let's celebrate Jesus and how we can love and serve our Hills communities on both sides of the hill there. There are about 320 people there. It was awesome. And just a heads up, the next one is happening 21st of September at Kalamunda Church of Christ. So you can come and see their cool new setup. 14th. One of those two. It was originally 14th. And then, that's right, thank you. It was 14th. And then one of the pastors said, guys, I've double booked. And we said, not naming names. Come on, mate. Talk to me afterwards if you want to know the name. No. So yes, we had to move it back a week. So yes, please, if you got it in your diaries the 14th, because that's when we originally had it, it's the 21st. And stuff's going to be out on socials, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, long story short, Nathan was sharing about what was going on there. And when he shared there, Paul Kenny went up, and he's down at Camp Wattle Grove as the caretaker there, and he went up and had a chat to Nathan, so they're having a conversation about some stuff they could do. Meanwhile, I go to Brisbane a couple of weeks ago. I'm in Brisbane and I see Rick Pekin, who's the Bible Society man. You may know Rick. And I go up to him, I'm like, how's it going? What's the chance of seeing you here? WA, yay. And we're chatting, and he's like, you've got to go talk to Nathan. I'm like, I will. I've heard about Nathan because we're just at Hills United. Then Rick's like, no, you got to go and talk to Nathan. So I'm like, okay. So anyway, so he gets me in contact, so I get his number. I reach out to Nathan. He tells me, hey, I just talked to Paul. I was talking to Paul and Helen as well. Anyway, so all these little dots are connecting. And then there's a couple of foster families in our church, and I texted one of them. I said, hey, I've met this guy called Nathan. There's this cool thing called ARC. I think we should partner with it. And Kirsten's like, yeah, I'm a part of ARC over there. I'm like, oh, okay. And it's just like, I think God's saying something, or it's just a really cool coincidence. Either way, all these moving pieces to say this. Nathan will share next week. But what I think is here is that there is an opportunity as a church to help support some great work within this side of the community, within the city of Kalamunda, to see foster families supported. And Nathan will get to share a bit of his heart next week around that. But as a church, we can help with prayer, we can help with some funding, and we can help with just supporting that as that goes forward. So keep your eye out for that. But when we give this year to Be Rich, when you give, part of that money is going straight to that. And we're just going to be going to them and going, here it is. Here's the blank check of whatever it is. So I don't know what it is yet. So if we only give $25, I go to Nathan. I say, Nathan, here's $12.50. And he goes, I'm going to get myself a Gatorade and think on this. Might grab 3. I don't know how much Gatorade costs these days. If we raise a couple of $1,000, I can go to Nathan and say, Nathan, here's $1,000. Because half's going to you, half's going to Les Moody Primary. I go, here's $1,000. But it all comes down to what we choose to give. So this year, same as last year, in fact, in terms of what the call to action is I would encourage you to consider. Would you consider being generous with your finances, taking a small step? For some of you, you are ongoing, regular givers here to Les Moody Baptist Church. I want to say thank you. You make sure the lights are on, that everything happens. You make sure that we're able to do things like this because of your generosity. You are incredibly generous. If you are a regular giver here, keep that going. But would you consider putting in $25.99, I'll tell you why in a second, and giving towards Be Rich so that we can support ARC Australia, Les Moody Primary School, PNC. If you're someone who never gives unless you are prompted to, and I just want to say, when it comes to our finances, there is great peace when you pre-decide what you're going to give, because you can walk with confidence. Someone can come and say, here's a cause, do you want to give money? And you can say, I've already decided where my giving's going. It's great. If you are someone who you like, no, I don't pre-decide, I have no idea until a need comes up, can I tell you that there is a need to be able to support the great work of ARC Australia and continue to support Les Moody Primary School, PNC here? And would you consider giving $25.99? Now, some of you can give more than that. You laugh at that. What, $25.99? I can give more. Some of you are like, no, that's a bit of a stretch. $25.99, just so you know, is a Netflix premium subscription. Because you guys are premium givers, all right? That's why. We could have gone basic with ads. I'm like, no. We're better than that. We're Netflix premium people. So maybe you have a subscription you don't even pay attention to. Maybe you've got Disney, Stan, Netflix, like me. And maybe you can pause one of them for the month and give that to Be Rich. None of the money that comes through Be Rich comes to the church. All of it goes straight out to the not-for-profit party. So it's not like you give money and then part of it goes to the church offering and part of it goes on. No. Anything that's titled Be Rich money, just we're the middle people. We just want to get it together and say, hey, ARC Australia, hey, Les Moody Primary School, PNC, as a community of people, we just want to acknowledge you're doing great work. And we want you to keep doing that work. And to support you, that you can keep doing that work, this is a gift from all of us to you. So that's what it means to give this year for Be Rich. So, if you want to give, it's up there. So you can give through bank details. Make sure you reference Be Rich so that we know that it can go out to ARC and to Les Moody Primary School, PNC. And if you want more info about what this is about, if you follow that QR code, I'm just going to check this now as well. I think I checked it during the week, but I just want to make sure it's updated, that you don't see last year's details. Yes, it's all updated. Great. If you follow that QR code, you'll see the details for Be Rich 2025 and how you can give and also how you can serve and love as well. Next week, the infamous containers of serve will be back. Love, they'll be back out there. I'll explain a little bit about the backstory of that next week. But for now, what I want you to hear is simply this. You have a choice with your 80 to 100 years on earth. You can be rich for you and make it last 80 to 100 years. Or you can take Paul's advice and be generous. And you can see the impact of your generosity for generations to come. But you can't have both. Because as soon as you focus on you, trust me, it never goes to someone else. Let me pray. Father God, thank you so much for the words from Paul. Thank you that they instruct us how to live well while we're here on earth. What I want to pray for right now, God, very, very specifically is simply this. May these 3 weeks of generosity shift something in our hearts. May it help us to see that our life is more than just about us. And may we lift our eyes up and see that we can live generously through our finances, through our time, through our energy, through our living, Lord. And that can have an ongoing impact in our world for generations to come. Allow us to be generous this season and help ARC and help Les Moody Primary School PNC continue to do the good work they are doing. And more so when it comes to ARC, may we see a presence established this side of the hill in the city of Kalamunda. Be with us in your name and for your glory. Amen.